This presentation was prepared by Michael Godinez, Emily Whitmarsh, and Catherine Pearson. We begin with two goals in mind. The first, the short term, is to improve student test scores, and the second, our long-term goal, is to ensure our students are able to take the knowledge they gain in their K-12 careers and apply it to real-world situations. In order to do so, we must ourselves understand how to apply theories and trends to our curricula. Moving forward, we need to differentiate between theories and trends. An educational theory is an acceptable principle or body of principles that help to explain certain phenomena and is followed as a basis of action. You can think of this as like the foundation of a house. A trend is a gradual change in a general direction. Trends can be affected by theories, legislation, and political and social circumstances. Trends oftentimes are subsets of theories, but as can be seen here, trends can be affected by theories, policies, and social and civil movements. For example, many of the trends used today are affected by policy regarding test taking. These policies have affected how teachers design their curricula and how they are to be evaluated. We have identified 3 different theories that, used together, can help students meet both our short-term and long-term goals. These are behaviorism, constructivism, and connectivism. Behaviorism focuses on objective observations of behavior, where learning is dependent upon environmental conditions. This theory reigned over education from around 1913 until the 1990s, and its major contributors were John Watson, Ivan Pavlov, Edward Thorndike, and B.F. Skinner. Behaviorists rely on reinforcements within the classroom, both positive and negative. For example, a good or bad test score is a reinforcement of good or bad study habits. Feedback is delivered relatively quickly and allows students to process objective feedback. The highlight to this type of classroom is that there is flexibility. Students can do either group work or solo work and still receive objective feedback. Students learn not only from their own behaviors, but from the behaviors of others. Positive habits can be identified and replicated in other students for the increased probability of positive outcomes. Independent and online learning rely on behaviorism in that students cannot progress with material, which is positive reinforcement, until they have mastered older material, which is positive behavior. The next theory, constructivism, is based on the work of many theorists, Piaget and Vygotsky being 2 of them. This theory began replacing behaviorism in the 1990s as part of the authentic learning movement and suggests that students construct knowledge based on their own experiences. In this classroom, students are active, reflective, and work collaboratively. Being engaged in the process is important because students are constructing the knowledge, not just receiving knowledge from the teachers. Being reflective allows students to reevaluate and self-assess based on new information and feedback. Students are active participants in activities, which are typically hands-on and based on inquiry. Students break down these activities scientifically, investing themselves by taking ownership to deeper understand content. This improves learning outcomes by teaching students how to understand whole concepts and how to work in a problem-based environment. This allows students to apply their constructed knowledge to new situations. On top of constructing content knowledge, students also work on social, emotional, and interpersonal skills by working collaboratively. 2 trends that find their origins within constructivism are authentic learning and problem-based learning. Authentic learning is a movement that recognizes a gap in the tasks learners see in school and those that they encounter in the real world. For example, students are usually taught the algorithm for the division of numbers and become proficient in its use, but struggle to recognize when to use division in a situational problem. Like authentic learning, problem-based learning focuses on learners solving real-world problems. This is all in an effort to improve critical thinking and problem-solving skills in learners. The final trend, connectivism, founded by George Siemens and Stephen Downes, examines how learners create networks of knowledge on a global scale. This theory is largely influenced by technology and encourages the exchange of knowledge through peer groups. Learning in connectivism is cyclical and constantly updated. The learner uses the network to gain knowledge, constructs that knowledge subjectively, then rejoins the network with new input based on new knowledge. The knowledge within the network is essential to gaining understanding. When it comes to learning outcomes in connectivism, learners gain understanding by questioning their former perceptions and building on or altering that construct. Knowledge input is constantly updated, and learners can learn through a global network, accessing places they may never have been able to get to before. Trends associated with connectivism largely involve technology. Students can use online resources to showcase their knowledge in a variety of ways and to build upon their former knowledge. There is also now massive open online courses where students can learn completely online. When trying to achieve both the short-term goal of improving test scores and the long-term goal of deepening our students' understanding for life beyond their K-12 careers, we must keep in mind the difference between knowledge and skill and understanding and application. Knowledge is what you can intellectually obtain. Skills are easily taught and absorbed in the classroom and are often tested using assessments. We have to focus on increasing our students' knowledge base and sharpening their skills for our short-term goal, but using both their skills and knowledge to grow understanding and application. Understanding is taking knowledge and pairing it with the subjective self. Skills can be applied to numerous tasks because of a deeper understanding of the knowledge obtained. While it's important to make sure that we're passing our assessment tests, which reflect directly on our teachers, we also need to make sure that we're growing students who can participate in the real world. Understanding and being able to apply skills is one of the things that a lot of our students leave without knowing how to do adequately. Constructivism, behaviorism, and connectivism are just three of many modern theories that can grow knowledge and skills into understanding and application. This can be applied to any subject area. Students are able to take objective observations, personal experience, and a network of knowledge to transform what they are gaining knowledge of in the classroom into understanding that can be applied outside of the classroom in the real world, including the workforce after schooling has ended. Ways to spread this and apply it to the curriculum and instruction are by hosting seminars at least twice a semester to keep teachers in the loop with best practices in these theories. Keeping up with each other and sharing experiences is critical. We all learn from each other, and as teachers, we're lifelong learners. Implement activities that fall in line with at least one of these theories within the classroom. Maybe try some of the best practices from some of the trends listed here or some that you might research on your own. Some teachers already use one or a few of these theories in their classroom and know some of the best practices. So always keep in touch with your colleagues and see where you can improve your classroom. Use outside resources to assess students to be sure they are meeting requirements needed for state testing, as well as for applicable understanding. This is kind of where we can get our administration involved with more frequent classroom visits or frequent classroom assessments. Not to be critical on the teacher, but to actually find the gaps or the holes that we're kind of leaving behind for our students. It's always important to check and double check. Have administration members be the active assets in the classroom. And 4, be open and willing to try methods that can lead to best results and greater understanding of material on the part of the students. Be open and be flexible as a teacher. Like I said, we're lifelong learners. So going into the classroom thinking that we already know everything is obviously not working. We need to grow ourselves so that we can help grow our students. Some of the objections or misconceptions when introducing new theories or groups of theories into the classroom are harder to overcome. So one of them is, what if this approach doesn't work and I have wasted my time? Well, it's important to be patient with your results. Theories and trends change so fast because a lot of times we do not take the time to fully understand them. It does take time, and it takes trial and error in some cases. But in the long run, pushing these theories together, we can help our students better understand material. So we're not just teaching to a test, but we're teaching them to succeed. Another one is, my classroom has consistently tested well with my current teaching style. Why would I change that now? Reformatting our curriculum this way could be a good uniform approach where students are consistent with how they learn from grade to grade. So though each teacher has a different teaching style, we would basically keep the theories that our students are learning from the same. They're learning how to grow their knowledge from the last year to the next year. The third, what if I do not ascribe to any of these theories? Again, I say it's important to be flexible. We are lifelong learners. Allow yourself to learn these theories and trends, and feel free to find your favorite activities or media to use under this umbrella. The great thing about using all these theories together is that you have more of a pragmatic one, you have more of a subjective one, you have more of a technological one. So you can merge these things together and have a diverse classroom. Not all your students learn the same, and not all your students learn the way that you like to teach. So being able to be flexible and open with our curriculum is really important for our students and their understanding. How do I change myself to benefit my students if I am unfamiliar with this type of teaching and learning? My advice is ask. Always ask and always research. Find out what tools or practices other teachers are using and try them for yourself. Also, research gives you the opportunity to independently choose what works best for you. I'm more of an ask. I like getting advice from other people, so taking their advice sometimes really helps me open my eyes to what I might need to change in my own classroom. Thank you for your time and your patience. We hope that you will allow this proposal to sink in and maybe open new doors for our young learners.